You are listening to the Bring Joy Forward podcast. Conversations to explore, heal, and grow. You can find us on bringjoyforward.com and join us in our community group on Facebook. We now take you to the episode. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, I'm Ramona Crabtree-Falkner of Authentic Life Journey, and I'm joined today by Shannon Dias of Imagine If, and we are here to bring joy forward. How are you?
Welcome, everybody.
So today we are going to drop into a conversation that I really love talking about because I'm all about intention setting and living with alignment to those intentions. And we want to jump into some conversation around aligned actions. So, making sure that everything that we're saying yes to is aligned to the intentions that we are holding. And this can be on a macro level and a micro level. It's really important to recognize that intentions are not just for our big dreams, they're also for our daily activities and dreams. So, for me, the importance of taking aligned action is how we are actually moving the energy forward, right? And inviting that vision that we have to connect to that. So let's chat more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it because I think people don't realize the importance of even the small thoughts and how
Mhm.
they affect our intentions. And so I kind of want to roll all the way back to the very, very beginning when you wake up and you open up your eyes and you're about to get out of bed. Like that starts your intention for what you're doing for that day. So if we're looking at it from the minute, little tiny
Mhm.
details, what do you want to bring into your day and what power do you want to put behind your thoughts? Because we don't realize the extreme power that we have, I think, in a
Mhm.
lot of cases. And so starting with that initial action before you even start that day, put that intention out there of what you want your day to look like. And then I also like to kind of have the fluidity where we allow ourselves not to be so rigid in what we're putting behind those
Mhm.
intentions, because I think that can trip us up a lot of times as well. So as we're going through that, it's great. We're thinking about it. We've got this, hey, positive idea going out into the world. But if you don't do anything with that, if you don't act upon that, then you're not really setting anything into motion. So even those little things, and you and I do this all the time, where we say, how many times do you talk to a friend and you're like, yeah, we need to get together, we need to go do this thing or whatever. You and I are like, what date do you have available? What's the next day? In fact, we did it before this podcast. Like, when is the next time? And you put it on the calendar
Mhm.
because then it's going to happen. You have set the intention and you've put the action behind it. And sure, things may change, but it's pretty rare that for us that we've actually, changed that. We usually end up doing something. Even if we change what we're doing, we do something.
Mhm.
So I think it's that whole package. You have to activate the energy and work with it. And we throw these ideas around a lot and talk about energy in these grand scales, but really it all just boils down to the simplicity of thought and action. You have to think about it, and then you actually have to do something about it.
Well, and this is the whole like package of intention and manifesting. Like how do we manifest the life that we are envisioning or that we are holding a vision for? Um, so this is just one of the key elements of that manifesting work. And for me, especially this year, Spirit's really leaning on me to be really holding space for my clients and communities that I'm working within to really harness their power as manifestors, because the reality is that we're manifesting whether it's aligned or misaligned.
Yeah.
So actions want to be aligned to intention. So I'm going to give an example. If I say I want to buy a new car, okay, but I keep putting it off and giving reasons why I don't have time, or pushing it away, instead of, what can I do now that's accessible, that's aligned to that vision, and believing that it's possible for me to have the new car. So anytime I'm about to buy a new car, and it happens really fast just because I manifest really, really fast these days when it comes to my vehicles. But so like if I go, okay, I want to have a new car. These are the reasons that I need a new car. And so then I start holding the vision for this perfect equation to come together for the kind of car that I want to be driving to come together. It happened with the car that I have right now. So that's a much longer story that I will not go into. Is that I had a situation. The car that I had purchased the year before was having problem after problem. And the choice to buy that car was a fear-driven choice. So again, aligned action.
Yep.
If you make a choice that is based out of fear, that is not aligned. So I got really intentional about, okay, what do I want? And I was holding the vision. I'm going to tell you right now, I literally bought the car that I saw in my brain. And it took me a minute to get to it because I was at one dealership and then I got moved. But I just kept going, okay, I found the car. I found exactly what I want in the car. I found the place and it's right down the street. So this must be the car. And then I call them and they're like, oh, yeah, the car is being shipped out. I'm like, oh, so it's not the car. And then so I went back to the drawing board and I started doing more research. So again, this is the aligned action. Start holding the vision for the thing that I'm creating in my life, and then begin to find access to it through research or putting myself in different cars that are the same car to test drive it or whatever. Like we have to give ourselves the space to say, okay, this is possible. So when I found the car again at another dealership that was an hour away, because it didn't get bought by whoever it is that had it transferred, I called them and I said, I want this car. I literally have 45 minutes when I get there. So if I test drive this car and I want it, will you be able to close me in 45 minutes? So this is my aligned action. I knew that I had this amount of time. I knew that I wanted this car. I knew that if I didn't get there that day, it was going to be gone. So I had to decide, how am I going to take this time that I have, this bank, this bank of 4 hours, and manifest what I want out of it? Well, I drive to the dealership. They have the car sitting outside. I literally walked out of my car into the car, test drove it, walked in the door, signed the papers, and was out in 45 minutes. So I manifested exactly the equation that I wanted to have, and the price, and the exact car, and the color of the car. This was a big part of the manifesting power. Was I had this vision of this color, which is very similar to what I'm wearing, because it is what I'm embodying in my life, is to be that vibrant blue, mermaidy, iridescent, magic thing. And so it's about making choices that align to the vision. I could have gone and bought a different car that was a different color, that was closer to my house, and it would have been out of alignment, and I would have yet once again not manifested exactly as I was wanting to manifest. So if you say yes to a no, you're saying no to you. So you want to say yes. You want to say yes to the universe, and not, oh, well, I'll take this as the backup. No, thank you. I'm going to take the top of the road, exactly what I want vision. And that doesn't mean that I put myself in a box and said it had to be exactly at this time. It's just that the car showed up very quickly because I got really clear about what I wanted.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to go back for a second, and you touched on fear. So we've talked often too about how basically you're making these decisions based on fear or love. Those are the two spaces. So, and it's love for yourself in this case, right? So you're making those choices on what to step into. We're not putting ourselves in these situations where we're saying it has to happen during this time, but yet when we need it to be, the 45 minutes, for example, right? We're asking the universe to give us what we want. This is what I want. And I want to break that down even smaller too. We're asking people to give us what we want, right? Because when we're going out and stepping into the world, we're stepping with people who believe all different things, who act all different ways, who manifest and with intention and don't. And so in this particular circumstance, it was, this is what I want. This is how I can make this happen. This is what I need for this to happen. And communicating that to another person who has the power to make that happen. And I think that little bridge of communicating that need to another person and them saying, okay, I can do this, right? And because you're not going in demanding and saying, I'm not going to do it unless this, it's you're communicating your need. I need for this to happen in a 45-minute time, or I'm not going to be able to do this. Can you do that? So you've said, hey, this is what I need. And you've gone to that person and said, are you able to contribute to that? Are you able to do that? And they then have the choice to say yes or no. They're now in control of that action, right? But we miss those little things along the way because we're sitting in our own fear of pushing that forward and asking for that thing that we want. And sometimes we are the one we are fearful for. And it can be because of past experiences. And if you're somebody that's new to manifesting, or if you hear the word manifest and you're like, oh, it's just another one of those, and you get into the, because everybody's got a kitschy little phrase about it now, and it's all over the place. But if you're new to it, the beginning stages of it are understanding the simplicity and the power of yourself, the power of the energy that is working within you, that is working throughout you, whatever you believe in, from above and below, spirit, all of that. It's understanding that simplicity. So that is a very easy way to start stepping into it.
And speaking from the energetic perspective of the chakras, which is what I work with primarily, is this is all about your bringing into alignment your solar plexus, your heart, and your throat. Okay, so your solar plexus, we're talking about taking action, right? So that's your action center. It's where we are willing to step out and say, this is what I need, this is what I want. I'm going to speak that into the world. I'm going to take this energy that's coming in, and I'm going to take my creation and I'm going to bring it into life. Okay. Your heart is the connection to the divine, the reminder that we are supported, that we have the answers. And then the throat is how we express our needs, our wants, our visions. So the solar plexus, you have to feel empowered to say, this is what I need. Can you offer me that? The throat is where you say, can you offer me that? And the heart says, okay, this is the need. So it's bringing all of the energy together and really being authentically yourself. Because listen, if the guy had said, no, it's really going to take 2 hours, I'm not going to be able to do it, I would have been like, all right, this is not my car. That would have been the answer. That would have been a misaligned action. It was not aligned. But it was aligned because I asked for my need. The person on the other end said, yes, I will make that happen for you. And they did. Now, that being said, I ended up getting a completely different loan 3 days later, which was fine. But I knew what I wanted. And I knew that if I could get what I wanted in a specific time frame and a specific price point, that if I needed to adjust anything, it would be adjustable because everything is figure outable.
Right. I love when we make figure outable a verb.
So, my invitation for anyone that is listening to this is this. It is important to be clear with what your intention is, and to be clear with what a yes really is and what is a no. Because the car that I purchased before was a no, because it was based on nothing that was really a truth for me. It was entirely based out of a seed that was planted in my brain about my previous car that ended up walking away from this car that I dreamed of my whole life because I was fearful of having to deal with something. And so then I ended up in a really uncomfortable situation with another car. So the car I got after that, I was like, we're going to make sure we're really clear about our needs.
And that's how it happens, though, right? We all have something that is driving us, and
Mhm.
that's that intention, that choice, like, what
Mhm.
are you going to do with that? So you had an experience that was unpleasant. So there are two ways to react to that. And
Mhm.
in your case, you chose to be very specific with it. This is what I need. And when we're talking too about alignment and authenticity, which I think are other words that kind of get, thrown around quite a bit, that we hold very dear over here at Bring Joy Forward. We are very attuned to that alignment. And when we're talking about it, you can feel in your body whether it's aligned.
Mhm.
And specifically, we're talking about the chakras in this case. You will feel it in your heart when something is good for you. And so if you're just starting out, start there. Start noticing what your body is doing and how you are reacting to situations as you're coming across them. And then start keeping a journal of this, as you're going, because you may surprise yourself as to what really is authentic for you. And I
Mhm.
think that's something I experienced pretty recently, where I started to like really kind of take a look back at all the choices that I've made and all the directions I went, and when I made choices that were in my alignment, or just, I like to use the word acquiesce, because it seems to be what I was doing very often, where you acquiesce, because it's not that big of a deal. So so you go in that direction. That's an intentional choice you're making to not be intentional. And so, that was something for me that I had to really sit with that and really own it. And I'm generally a person who doesn't have too much trouble communicating and getting across what it is that, I'm thinking, or I want. But it's different when you're passionate about something. It's easier for you to get those things across, right? If you're just kind of going with the flow of life, right? Maybe you're in that 9 to 5 job, maybe you're doing something you don't really love, maybe you've just accepted your fate. If you've accepted your fate and you're listening to us right now, you've made the choice to no longer just accept your fate. So now you have to make the decisions to go forward with that. And what do
Mhm.
you do? What do you do with it? And how do you start?
Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, I hope that our talk today helped bring some illumination and enlightenment to aligned action. And if you ever need any support in that, definitely reach out to us. We have lots of resources.
Absolutely, we do. And you can get those resources if you go to bringjoyforward.com. You'll find everything there. We'd love to have you join us in our Facebook group, where we have something going every day for empowerment and just bringing these little reminders into your life. And we thank you for watching us here. You can catch us on anywhere you listen to podcasts, and go ahead and subscribe to us on YouTube too. We appreciate that so much. Thank you for watching. You have been listening to the Bring Joy Forward podcast. Conversations to explore, heal, and grow. You can find us at bringjoyforward.com, and we'd love to have you join us in our community Facebook group. Thank you for listening.